Hello and welcome to Nat Fashion Hub, the best fashion channel in the world. Yeah, so today quickly we are going to learn how to draft a pattern for a gown. Yeah, like the kind of gown you are seeing right there. We're going to learn how to draft a pattern for that kind of fitted gown. So if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bells on so that whenever I drop my videos, you'll be the first to be notified. So in this class, we'll be using our measurements. We have our tape, we have our short rule and our long rule. If you have a French cuff, you can use them, but I use my free hand. So the measurement we're going to use for this gown is this. For the pattern for this gown is this. We're going to use a shoulder of 14, bust 36, under bust 28, hip 38, and the gown length is 36. As for our arm, we're going to get our arm size from this shoulder measurement. All right. So without wasting time, let us hit into the video. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify 5 basic lines on this pattern, which you're going to see as I do that. All right. So first, we're going to remove the shoulder line. So this is our shoulder line here that I'm marking right here. It's our shoulder line. All right. The next thing is for us to locate our bust point. Okay. And the bust point is located 9 inches from the shoulder line. So this is our shoulder line. So our bust line will be here. All right. So this is our bust line will be here. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is to locate the waist line, and the shoulder to waist is 16 inches. From shoulder to waist, it is 16 inches. So this is our waist, 16 inches. So this is waist, 16 inches. Still locate it here. And then shoulder to hip is 23 inches. So this is our hip point. All right. When we finish, we are going to join all these points together. Then the next thing for us to do is to get the full length of our gown. And the full length of this gown is 36 inches. All right. So this is 36 plus hemming allowance, okay, of 2 inches. That becomes 38. All right. So this is our gown length, 36. Hemming allowance making 38. So now we're going to join these points together so as to get our gown done. All right. So this is the bust point. All right. So this is our waist line here, and then this is our hip line. This is our hip line. Here's the length of our gown. The length of our gown, and then this is our gown length. All right. So we are going to mark 3 inches, 3 inches below this bust point to get our under bust. All right. So this is our under bust, or you can call it fitting. This an under bust. All right. So this is our bust point, under bust. This is our waistline. This is our hip. This is our down length. This is our hemming allowance. All right. So the next thing we're going to do from here is to simply start the measurement with locating our shoulder. So our shoulder is 14. When you are cutting, you divide shoulder measurement by 2. So 14 divided by 2, that will give you 7. All right. So see, I'm putting my tape from the beginning point here. So this is 7. Okay. We're going to add half-inch seam allowance. That becomes what? 7.5. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is to locate our arm. And how do we locate our arm? Formula for getting arm is shoulder measurement divided by what? 2, which is equal to the arm. All right. So if our shoulder here is 14, divided by 2 is equal to what? 7. So our arm therefore will be located at 7. All right. But we're not going to use this 7 completely, because if we use 7 completely, by the time we cut this pattern, the arm will be too wide. So we're going to minus minimum of 1 inch from this 7. All right. So we're going to be using what? 6. All right. Just stay with me. 6. So this is what? 6. We are going to mark our arm. This is 6. All right. This is 6. So we are having 7.5 here. We're extending 7.5 down. We're adding 7.5 down. Okay. To get our, so that we can curve our arm. Okay. So this is 7.5. All right. To curve our arm. All right. So the next thing for us to do is to measure 1 inch above this arm point here. All right. And then mark 1 inch inward as well. We are following. So when curving our arm, we're going to curve our arm this way. You see that? Then curve it this way. Curve is quite simple and clear, right? And we'll mark. The next thing we're going to do now is to get our bust, all right? We say our bust is 36. 36 divided by 4. That will give us 9, all right? So this is what? This is 9. Okay? This is 9. And we are going to add 1 inch seam allowance, all right? Or you can make it 1.5. Still not bad. So if we're adding 1.5, this is our 1.5 inch seam allowance, all right? Right there, okay? So on this our bust line, we'll still extend this 9 plus what? 1.5. Still extend it there. All right. So the next thing we're going to do now is to get the neck, all right, for this gown. Now it's a round neck we're doing. So the wideness of this neck, we're going to give it wideness of 6 with a depth of 4.5. All right. It's a round neck, okay. So this is wideness of 3. We'll extend the 3 down here. All right. Extend the 3 down here. All right. So also extend this 4 here, and we will curve our neck this way. All right. It's actually a round neck, and for round neck you can curve it the way you want to curve yours. There's no challenge with that. I'm going to slant half an inch here, and we will drop down our arm. You can see it's intentional. This half inch I crossed up here is intentional. All right. So we've gotten our arm. The next thing for us to get now is our underbus. And we said our underbus is what? We said our underbus is 28. Therefore, 28 divided by 4, that will be 7. Alright? That will be what? That will be 7. This is 7 here. This is 7. Alright? But mind you, we need both that allowance and seam allowance. So we're going to give that allowance of 1 inch. Alright? And we're going to give seam allowance of 1.5 inch. Let's maintain the same allowance we're giving. 1.5 inch. Alright? That's that. 1.5 inch. So we're done with that. Let's join this point before we proceed. We move further. So I'm joining my arm to my butt line. Then I'm joining my butt line toward my under bust. Okay. Can we see that? So the next thing for us to do is to get our waist. All right. And the waist of this per customer is almost the same thing with the under bust, just an inch different, which is just 1 inch. The waist of this customer is 27. The waist of this customer, is 29. Is 29, all right? And if we divide 29 by 4, you should be having 7.25. I think so. That's correct. 7.25. So this is 7.25, all right? Plus 1 inch that allowance, plus 1.5 inch seam allowance, all right? So we're going to get this flipping out already this way. Okay, I'm taking it step by step so that we'll actually understand this and get it perfectly. All right, so if you are enjoying this video, if it's making sense already, I'd like you to hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on so that you always be notified whenever I drop my videos. So going to the hip, we have a hip of 38. All right, so when we divide 38 by 4, we should have 9. Yeah, 9.5. Divide 38 by 4, we should have 9.5. All right, so this is 9.5. Okay, so 9.5 plus 1.5 seam allowance. This is it. Yeah, so that's it. That. So the next thing I'm going to do is to extend our line curve from this waistline to get to the hip line. All right, so the next thing for us to do is to get the down of our gown. And this gown, the down part of it, we are going to use the same 36. All right, I'm going to use 36 for this gown so that it will have a little bit of shape. Okay, we don't want it to be straight. We want the gown to be a bit curved down. All right, so I'm going to use 36 for the end part of the gown down here, and 36 divided by 4, that's 9. All right, we have 9 here, plus our 1.5 seam allowance we're giving, that becomes this, plus 1.5 inch becomes 10.5. all right, so the next is for us to join this point to this one. I think our long ruler will help us here better. Join this point to this point here. Right, and we can simply extend this line down here. Okay, so the next thing for us to do is to give this gown fitting. How are we going to locate the darts on this gown? The dart separation for this customer is 8. All right, it's 8, which means I'm going to use what? 4. That is the distance from one bust point of this customer to the other, nipple to nipple. You understand? The dart separation is 8. So since it's 8, we are going to use 4. We divide that separation by 2. So 8 divided by 2, that will be what? That will be 4. All right. So this is it. We'll mark it on the under bust line. Look at it here. On the under bust line. You can still extend it down to the waistline. All right. and we get a straight line here. All right. So that's our fitting. Okay. Now, one other crucial thing we should know about this dart line is this: the dart length we're giving this gown is just 8 inches. All right, 8 inches, and therefore, since it's 8 inches, we are going to give it 1.5 inch above the under bust line. All right, 1.5 inch above the under bust line here. You can see 1.5 inch above the under bust line, and then we are going to, from there downwards to where we find 8. That is where the length of the dart is going to stop. So you see 1.5 inch above the under bust line point, then down to where we find 8, because we want the length of this fitting dart to be 8. Then the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this into 2. All right, and the half of it is what? Is 4. This is 4 right here. So on this 4, we're going to mark 1/2 inch this side and 1/2 inch this way. All right, and then we're going to join this like this and like this, like this and like this. Like I said before, if this video is making sense, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on, so that whenever I drop amazing content like this, you will be the first to be notified. Yeah, so you see we are done with our front pattern. I'm going to make dotted line to show you where the actual measurement of this gown is. See, these are the actual measurements of this gown. All right, it's very simple. These are the actual measurements of this gown. Actual size of the gown. All right, so I'm going to level this up so I can see very well. This is bust point, this is under bust, this is waistline, this is hip line, this is gown length, and this is the hemming allowance. All right, so the next thing for us to do is to cut out this pattern so that we can use it to get the back block. All right, so for us to get our back, we'll simply not forget to bring back this 1/2 inch here. So this is it. Now for our back piece, we're going to take note of about 2-3 things. First, we're going to take note of the zip allowance. We'll take note of the waistline, the hip, and the vent, right? The slit, rather, the slit behind. All right, so if we look at this, I am going to add an allowance of 1/2 inch up here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an allowance of 1/2 inch up here, just 1/2 inch. Okay, 1/2 inch up here. All right, and then another thing I'm going to take note of is this. Meanwhile, let's take note of the waistline. This is our waistline or hip line. All right, the allowance I'm leaving this side is just 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches I'm leaving this side for both the zip down to the slit behind. All right, so another thing is this: the back piece, the neck, I'm going to deepen it by just 1 inch, all right? Just 1 inch from the shoulder line. So this is what? This is 1 inch. And of course, we will extend this line here. This allowance is 2.5 inches. So we'll mark it here. 2.5 inches. We're going to mark it here. All right. This, going to mark it here. All right. So now we just need to curve our neck. Curve our neck this way. All right. That's all. We're done with the neck. The next thing we are going to do now is to check our zip allowance, and the zip allowance we are given is 1.5 inch. Look at the 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch. But when we get to the waistline here, we are going to, for the sake of the back figure, for the dress not to rumple at the back, at the waist area, we'll be making it just about 3/4 inch here on the waistline. Just 3/4 inch allowance. Mind you, from the neck here is 2 inch, is 1.5 inch, but here is just 3/4 inch allowance, just a little bit above 1 inch. All right, just neglect this for now. Okay, so this is our hip area, and this is the length of our gown. The slit we were given, we want it to be maximum of 7.5 inches. Since it's not a long gown, then it's not very long, so we want the slit to be maximum of 7.5 or 7 inches maximum. Is okay. So this is where the slit will stop. This is the mark where the slit will stop. All right. So our allowance even at the hip is going to be what? 1.5 inch. So take note. Our allowance at the shoulder is 1.5 inch. At the waist point is 3/4 inch. At the hip line is still 1.5 inch. And at the fitting here, at the slit here, we'll still give it 3/4 inch allowance. Now let's join these points and see what we have. All right. From the shoulder line, we'll join straight to the what? The waistline. This is what we're going to have. Sorry, this my marker is about going out. So we're going to bring out the line here to the hip line. Now, when you do this, your dress ends up having a very nice shape, and it doesn't rumple at the back. These allowances we are removing here, they are very important. The allowance is very important, right? The next thing is to curve this line back into this 3/4 here at the slit point. All right. See this, and make sure the line is not sharp here. All right. Make sure it's not sharp. Make sure it's not sharp. Make sure it's curved. All right. So the next thing for us to do now, this is our slit allowance. All right. And this is the length of our gown. This is what? The hemming allowance. Okay. And then what I'm going to do now is to mark 1 inch here. All right. Mark 1 inch here. And join these points to these points here. But now I want us to take note of something. Now, drawing this line this way is very wrong. If you want to turn your line, you discover that this will short. So what are you going to do? You're going to measure what is. You're going to measure at this point. We are going to take this 1 inch here, and we are going to open it out here little, all right, like half inch, which means your line comes. It means this comes this way, but at the same time opens down here a little. All right. We didn't do that on the front piece because it was a bit straight. That was why we didn't do this. But when you see a line coming in like this, all right, if you don't play it out,
If you are used to, if you've been sewing for some time, you understand what I'm saying. If you don't play it out, by the time you turn lining, you discover that this down part is short, all right? That's why I am flaying it out this way. The next thing to do is to cut out. I don't want to waste our time. So simply we cut out beginning from the shoulder here. You can see our gown is what is set, all right? Is the pattern for our gown. This is the front pattern, and this is the what? The back pattern. So you can see how simple, easy, and straightforward it is to cut a short gown. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and turn your notification bell on so that you will be always notified whenever I drop amazing content like this. Once more, thanks for watching. Welcome to Nat Fashion Hub, the best fashion channel in the world. This is our back piece, all right? And this is our front piece. Thanks for watching. Thank you.